Star Wars: A New Dawn is important to the history of Disney and Lucasfilm. It was the first novel published with the oversight of the Lucasfilm Story Group, basically the entity that makes sure that nothing in the Star Wars universe conflicts with each other, which, by the way, was the reason Disney gave for making everything other than the movies and the Clone Wars TV shows as non-canon. But we all know the real reason: money. That does bring us to another reason A New Dawn is important. It serves as a prequel to the TV show Rebels, which at the beginning had a lot going against it. Rebels was the biggest project that Disney had undertaken at that point since acquiring Star Wars, and they had royally ticked off countless fans of the Clone Wars TV series by essentially canceling it while the creative team behind the Clone Wars was not yet done with the arc of their stories. This is best exemplified by the book Dark Disciple, which directly came from the story ideas from the creators of the Clone Wars TV series. Disney had to pull in a new audience and somehow get the thousands of irked fans invested in their new TV show. A New Dawn was that hope, and Disney and Del Rey pulled out the big guns by having John Jackson Miller write the novel. Miller had a long history writing for both Star Wars and Disney with their Marvel properties, and he was also well beloved by Star Wars fans for his exquisite work on the Knights of the Old Republic comic book series. And while I don't know personally if this gambit paid off, a lot of people did dislike Season 1 of Rebels. A New Dawn was a fun Star Wars book that got us invested in some of their new characters. But before we get to the characters of the book, we need to talk about setting. A New Dawn takes place 8 years after Revenge of the Sith and 11 years before A New Hope. As a prequel to Rebels, it takes place 6 years before the TV series. We are first given a flashback to a brighter time, back when the Republic still stood and the Jedi Order existed. We are introduced to Caleb Doom, a young Jedi in training. It is in this flashback that Miller expertly ties the reader to the familiar, as something that happens in the flashback is later, chronologically speaking, used in one of the movies. Besides using nostalgia to win the audience over, the flashback sets the stage for what is about to happen. Us being propelled years into the future to witness a cynical, hardened, and selfish Caleb Doom. Except now, he goes by Kanan Jarrus, as Rebel fans well know, and he pilots a freighter on a mining world, disowning his Jedi past and trying to do whatever he can to avoid any notice whatsoever from the Empire. Kanan's world of boozing and trying to forget is shattered with the arrival of Count Demetrius Vidian, a cyborg genius whose only job is to get levels of mining back up to what the Empire desires. Think of him as the Joseph Mengele of business optimizers. We also get the second POV character, Captain Ray Sloan, who is A New Dawn's last big impact on Star Wars as a whole, as Sloan has become a reoccurring character in other Star Wars novels, as she is the main antagonist of the Aftermath series. The last piece to the puzzle is set in place with Hera Syndulla, our last POV character, who has been tracking Vidian. We get a feel for each character before the catalyst arrives: Skelly, a Clone Wars vet who is positive that the mining of the moon Cinda will cause the planet to collapse on itself. The criticism of mining policies lands him in trouble with the Imperials, and Skelly plans a somewhat understandable but still insane idea that completely backfires and makes things worse. By now, his actions have drawn Hera and Kanan in. Kanan wants no trouble with the Imperials and wants to turn Skelly in, but Hera thinks Skelly might be on to something. Kanan comes along for the ride simply because he finds Hera extremely attractive. It is here that we get to the fast-paced action and intrigue that grips the rest of the book. Hera tries to do what she can to stop Vidian and help recruit for the fledgling rebellion. Vidian shows off his ruthlessness time and time again, which is only compounded by the fact that he is half machine, and his biological half was afflicted by a destructive disease. This duality of Vidian obviously serves as a reminder of a far more famous cyborg in the Star Wars universe, yet Vidian is a distinct villain that carries his own. That is no doubt aided by the fact that there is an aura of mystery around Vidian that needs to be unraveled throughout the book. Throughout the pulse-pounding action and tense intrigue, there are true, impactful moments. Vidian throwing a miner in acid is one that immediately comes to mind, but we also get to meet even more interesting characters like Zaluna, a timid Sullustan who monitors the video feeds of the planet, which also gave the book a slight surveillance state arc that was well implemented. I found even the most minor of characters to be interesting, and the author handled the changes in personal character very well, as we see Kanan, Zaluna, and others change and wake up to the evil of the Empire. This was Disney's toe dipping into their Force Unleashed project, their origin story for the rebellion. Miller delivers an engaging story with good characters and a different but memorable and imposing villain. Kanan was also a nice departure from what we have typically seen of the Jedi, a cynical man who wants nothing to do with the Order. My main issue with the book is that I totally knew I was reading a Star Wars book. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but there are just certain phrases, actions, and things in Star Wars novels that I have read throughout the years that just break my immersion and remind me, oh yeah, I'm reading a Star Wars book. This happened a few too many times for me to rave about the book. Nevertheless, I feel it was a very solid outing for Disney. Now, if only they would start incorporating more of the old expanded universe, that would be fantastic. A New Dawn is a solid Star Wars book that is exciting and easily enjoyable, but it is also a Star Wars book. It may have been the dawning of a new era for Star Wars, but it seems that some things just stay the same. This is the OutcastWriter signing off. Please be sure to like and subscribe or leave a comment down below. Most importantly, thank you for watching, and remember, what we create matters.